Now, I know a lot of people stopped watching 90 Day Fiancé because they felt like the storylines were all put together. The whole thing is fake.
I can't believe I watched this because nothing like this really happens in real life because people actually don't think like this. This is ridiculous.
Here's my thing. I hope that when it comes to Jasmine and Gino's storyline, that it is actually fake. I hope it's 100% made up. I hope it's something that they're actually not struggling with, because as I watch it, it is something that I just can't get my mind around. Like the fact that they're proposing this open relationship, this open marriage for two people who can't have common sense, common, normal, everyday, average conversations and discussions. You're trying to do something which is almost expert level, and you haven't even accomplished the beginner board yet. You haven't done the beginner work. You guys can't even sit in a room and have a conversation with each other without somebody picking a fight and or somebody jumping up, getting up, running out the room, or threatening somebody before they get up and run out the room. Like, this isn't a thing. This is the worst possible scenario for either one of these people. This isn't a solution. And what makes me more agitated at watching this scene and watching this whole storyline from them, especially the whole concept of the last resort, it's a disaster. What makes it even more annoying is the fact that these therapists are terrible. Terrible. Who raised you people? You have one therapist who's talking to Jasmine and Gino. They hear these machinations of,
oh, if we could just have an open relationship that way, I could go out and do my thing. This is Jasmine. I can go out and do my thing with Matt, and then I'll come back to Gino, and then Gino will be able to take care of me, and I'll be able to do what I want to do, and it'll create all a smooth home transition. It'll be amazing.
And then when you talk to Gino, Gino is pretty much saying the same thing.
Oh yeah, well, if she goes off with Matt, she'll get what she wants, and then she's gonna come back. She'll be ready to listen to me, and she'll be able to do the things that I need her to do for the marriage. It'll be wonderful.
And the people who are supposed to help guide this whole conversation, help you make good decisions, teach you means and methods that you can make future good decisions, the foundation they're laying, no, we're not doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to encourage you to do the wrong thing. We're going to encourage you to do the absolute worst possible thing for your relationship and pretend like it's a victory. That's what I'm watching when I watch 90 Day Fiancé Last Resort. These people are terrible. I was recently talking to somebody about this 90 Day Fiancé thing, and specifically about this video that I was going to shoot. And they said to me directly, after watching this, I would never go to a therapist. And I had to pause. I said, you don't realize that, go through the whole line. This isn't actually what happens during therapy. None of this is how it actually works. Right. And hopefully you get somebody who has a little more sense than these people. Therapists are like any other profession.
Oh, shit.
You have good ones and you have bad ones. You have ones who are all-star, rock star level type people who help you solve problems and get over things and get past things and get through things, scenario situations. And you have ones who just basically come to the fire and they just have a big old can of gasoline.
You're saying this is our relationship, this is our marriage, and we have to decide what's going to work for us.
What makes it even more disgusting to me isn't the fact that Jasmine and Gino are proposing an open marriage. What makes it disgusting to me is that these therapists never took the time to say, there's some things that you have not thought of yet. There are some things you haven't considered. For instance, in my mind, if you're going to do ethical non-monogamy, your relationship should be at a point where you're completely honest with your other person. You have to be completely honest with yourself, and you have to be completely honest with the other person. You have to look at yourself and say, is this something that I can engage in? And it's not just so much engage in to the point like Jasmine, where she's looking at,
can I possibly go out and get my back blowed out by Matt and enjoy myself and then come home to Gino?
The answer for Jasmine is always going to be yes. The question that she needs to ask herself is, when it's time for Gino to go out and have those relations, that intimacy that he won't even have with you, are you going to be okay with it? The answer, of course, is no.
No!
There's no way that Jasmine's going to sign off on Gino going out sleeping with somebody when he, according to her, he won't even sleep with Jasmine.
Oh, you like her more than me? What is it about her that you can go with her, but you can't stay here with me, that you can't do things with me? I don't understand what I'm doing and why it's not working.
And it's only going to create more problems for this couple. There's also a few other things that they haven't asked or even broached or brought up on the show. They never asked, well, what's Matt's role going to be? Is Jasmine going to be okay if Matt goes out? Because according to them, Matt's not looking to have a relationship with Jasmine. He's trying to knock her off. He's just trying to dust it off for her. But once he gets finished doing the maintenance man on Jasmine, does he get to go out and have a relationship? And what happens if he gets himself a girlfriend? Does his girlfriend get to participate in Jasmine and Matt's tryst? Does Jasmine get jealous that Matt is out actively dating people? Some new girl shows up to the gym. He already had Jasmine.
Hey, I already knocked you down. Besides, you got a husband at home. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Susan. Hey, Maria. Hey, Clarice. What you doing?
You think Jasmine's going to sit there with a big old grin and smile on her face?
What happened to my Tuesdays?
No, it's going to be a problem. And then could you imagine a scenario where Gino is going to have to comfort Jasmine because her boyfriend dumped her? It's something crazy when you are expecting your husband or your wife to comfort you because the person you were essentially screwing behind their back or screwing with their permission even decided they no longer wanted to engage in it. There's a lot of moving parts here. And one of the more ignorant parts or things to me is that there's very little consideration for the third party's feelings. When they talk about it, it's all about what Gino and Jasmine wants, what's the best interest for Gino and Jasmine, and the hell with the other person. This is a person. And even the therapists are treating it like it's not a big deal. Like Matt as a human being is something that you just pull out of your drawer. One of the characters, Rob, had a very explosive reaction to a lot of this stuff. And good on Rob for being one of the people who actually came out and spoke his mind to try to pull Gino's coattails and say, dude, this is stupid as hell. You can't do it. Now, there are people out there who can do this. I'm not even going to pretend like there aren't. There are people who can do this. They'll drive their husband or their wife over to the other person's house. Jasmine and Gino are not those people. But Rob had an explosive reaction, and this is what he had to say as to why he believes what he believes.
I'm not an expert on open relationships, but I don't think it starts from the two people not having sex and one person going off to go have sex.
I feel like you're 100%
I think most open relationships, the couple is having sex.
Right.
If you're having sex with someone else, I feel like there's got to be something that brings you home.
It's got to be something that ties you two together. And usually it's something that your relationship is strong, independent of problems. Like you don't use this as a Band-Aid to try to heal your relationship because it's too apt to cause division within your relationship. Jealousy is always an issue. People could be okay with something. And this is something, again, that the people who are supposed to be paid professionals clearly didn't take into account. People can agree to things when you're sitting on a couch or you're sitting in the house or you're sitting in somebody's office or you're at the last resort. It's easy to agree to a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I'm fine with Jasmine seeing this guy, and it's not a big deal. And, you know, it'll be my turn soon enough, and then I'll go out and get somebody. It'll be cool, and it'll be what it is.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
But it's another thing when you are sitting in the house waiting for your wife to get home, or you see your husband in the closet and he pulls out his favorite shirt, or more to the point, the shirt you bought him, and he's putting on the outfit and the jewelry that you bought him for his birthday, for your anniversary. He's putting that on. The cologne you got him for Christmas, he's putting that all on so he can go out and lay up with somebody else. And you're supposed to be okay with it. And what happens when you look at them and say, you know what, I thought about it, I'm not okay with it. Now, when they're trying to get you to go along with it, then it's,
oh, if you ever have a problem with it, then we'll stop it immediately.
You serious?
They're going to give you the whole,
You agreed to this. What are you doing? I don't understand what the problem is. Everything is cool.
if this is something that's been going on for a little bit and now all of a sudden you've changed your mind, they're going to hit you with the,
Well, I mean, it's something we've been doing. I don't understand what the big problem is now. Let me just go out and I'll come back and we'll talk about it later, or let me finish, or whatever the case may be. You've already agreed to me. This is the deal. This is something that we've already both been doing. It's not a big deal. Stop being a baby.
you'll always have that other pressure. The hardest thing to do is to let somebody do something and then tell them that they can no longer do that thing. That's hard as hell. The easier point to do is for you not to open your relationship at all unless you're ready to do it. And more to the point, like I said, know who you are. Before you propose this to somebody, you have to recognize whether you can do it, and you have to be honest with yourself. Then you have to be honest with who you're with. Can your partner handle this? Most people, even if they could handle it and they could do it, they look at their partner. There's no way in the world their partner could do this. But there is a point where, because Rob had a visceral reaction while Gino had expressed his desire to do this, and this is what the therapist had to say about Rob's reaction.
Bro, you really think that you're gonna be okay with it? Because she's got a guy lined up, so as soon as y'all go home, boom, she's out that night.
I can't help but notice how triggered Rob is whenever we bring up polyamory, especially how triggered he is at Jasmine. He seems to perceive Jasmine as the manipulating cheater in this situation, and he is outraged.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What cracks me up in this situation is that Rob is 100% right, and this therapist is 100% wrong. How does that work? You have a person on 90 Day Fiancé who is a terrible person on 90 Day Fiancé, but they're actually making more sense than somebody who is supposed to be there to help these people with their relationships. You have Rob saying she already has a dude at home. She has a guy already picked out. She came here with the idea or notion that she was going to ask you to open up the relationship because she knew she wanted she knew who she wanted to open a relationship up with. So she came in with a plan. The plan wasn't to heal your relationship, make your relationship better. The plan was to get permission so she could start screwing her friend. And of course, you have the therapist.
Oh, well, look how Rob is so triggered. Like there's something going on with Gino and Jasmine. Like she's an evil, conniving woman.
Not everybody who proposes this is evil and conniving. In Jasmine's case, she's evil and conniving. And this goes back to, in order for you to do this, you have to be honest about your situation. You have to be honest about everything. I'm going to be honest. I think in order for you to do this type of relationship, you actually have to be more honest than if you were in a strict monogamous relationship. You have to tell them everything. Every time you run into somebody, meet somebody, talk to somebody, especially somebody who could potentially be a third in your relationship, you need to come home and report that. There's no more casual conversations. Every conversation is an opportunity, and every opportunity could lead to something. And so therefore you have to update and download your partner as to what's going on and constantly provide that situation report to your partner so that they know what's actually happening. And I don't see that in this scenario. Jasmine showed up to this thing and Gino was complaining that Jasmine would go off and she would get in arguments with him, and then she would disappear for days at a time. And he would ask her, "Where did you go?" She would tell him, "I'm not telling you, it's none of your business." And we find out that the place she was going was over to this guy Matt's house. So she's already spending the night at this dude's house and not letting her husband know. She's getting herself in the habit of spending the night at this guy's house during the course of arguments and disagreements with her husband. So instead of her working it out with Gino, she goes over to Matt's house. Matt is not her friend. Matt is her boyfriend. Okay. And there are sexual boyfriends, there's non-sexual boyfriends. There's guys that you just haven't slept with. So if I gave her the benefit of the doubt, which I'm a little stretched to do, in my opinion, in this particular situation, there's physical adultery, then there's emotional adultery. She's committing emotional adultery. And now she's trying to get her husband to agree to allow her to continue her relationship with her boyfriend in the open. That's all it is. She's tired of sneaking around.
I'm tired of hiding it. I want to be able to go to the gym and tell the other women who come in and look at Matt and talk to Matt, that's my boyfriend, leave him alone.
Now she can't do that because, I mean, she could do it, but if she does do it, she runs the risk that somebody from the gym is going to tell Gino, or somebody, who comes into the gym may recognize her and let Gino know, or his family know what she's in there doing and what she's up to. But if she has permission, then she can go in there and she can be full on Matt's girlfriend in public. And I think that that's what's going on. Also, there was a point where she was talking to Matt on the phone after she got in an argument with Gino. She ran out and she was talking to Matt on the phone, talking about how she wanted to come home and hang out with him. But he told her to stay. Why? Because the whole plan was for her to come there and get her permissions. And I think that it's important for Matt, looking at the dynamics of the show and how it plays into the reality TV aspect. If we pull it all the way back, he gets that permission from Gino to date Jasmine. He also gets to appear on the show. Hello. There's also another point where the therapist goes on to talk about why she disagrees with Rob and his position. Let's take a listen.
People who practice monogamy in unethical ways often look down on polyamorous people because I think there is a bit of resentment, right? The idea that people could talk about being with other people and actually do it kind of raises their anxiety around, oh, well, maybe I could be talking about to my partner. I think it triggers those folks who have faced infidelity a lot more.
I'm so tired of this bullshit line. This is something that Cody Brown was saying when he was talking about polygamy. Oh, anybody who criticizes me is jealous, or they don't understand it, or they're trying to hide their own insecurities. No, I'm not hiding the insecurity. I'm okay with people being in polygamous relationships or polyamorous relationships, polygyny relationships, plural relationships, ethical non-monogamous relationships, open relationships. I'm okay with it. I just have an issue when you're actually actively trying to ruin and destroy somebody else's life, when you're actively trying to put people in a situation where it doesn't benefit them, it's not good for the people that they're around, and it's not good for the people that they interact with. This situation wouldn't be good for Matt in a most strict sense, that if they were being honest and Gino and Jasmine were committed to one another, how is this beneficial to Matt if he involves himself with somebody and he gets attached? How does this help him in his situation? It also cuts him off from the possibility of going to the gym and meeting somebody for himself. If he's just in it for fun. And that's another thing. What happens if somebody gets pregnant? That's a conversation that you need to have before you start talking about, oh, well, here's how we're going to set the schedule. We need to go through the fundamental parts of what are we going to do in this open relationship. Not the when you going to go and when you coming back stuff is like the little detailed things. The big things are what happens in the event of STDs, what happens in the event of unwanted pregnancy, what happens in the event that who you're going to date, who you're going to talk to. In my mind, especially in a situation like Gino and Jasmine, if you guys are that pressed about being in a ethical, non-monogamous relationship and you want to be sure that there's not going to be any emotional ties, why would you start sleeping with your best friend, somebody who you're already emotionally attached to? That's the worst thing you could do. It sounds like a job for a professional. Go get pros. Go get some pros. Go call 1-800, hook-a-ho, 1-800, big dude. Go to someplace where it's legal and ethical and get yourself a professional. That way you guys can hook it up, go to the hotel. You get 2 separate rooms. You have the folks, you go to dinner first. that you could go up to your room, be with these other people. They're definitely not there for love. There's not going to be an emotional connection. You'll have your physical needs met. They get paid. They go home. You guys get back together. You go home. It's done data. But in the situation where she's talking about, of course somebody's going to catch feelings. Of course somebody's going to have emotions. Of course it's going to create problems. And this is part of the reason why I say that they have to get to know each other, get to know themselves before they make these kinds of decisions. There's no way in the world is this type of arrangement, for especially for these two people, even remotely a possibility. They're better off just going off and doing whatever it is they're going to do once they separate. And to be honest with you, I don't really understand why it's taking so long for Gino to file for divorce. And it just feels like this is another stretch for TLC to try to expose additional relationship types in a dumbass way. It's not representative of the people who engage in this type of activity, much like I don't think the Brown family was a good example of how to properly or healthily engage in a polygamy relationship, or even the folks from Seeking Brother Husband in polygyny relationships, or Seeking Sister Wives, polygamous relationships. I think that a lot of these people, the way that they engage in it is extremely destructive. And again, one of the things that bothers me more than anything else is the fact that the therapists are going along with it.
Well, one size doesn't fit all, right? You're saying this is our relationship, this is our marriage, and we have to decide what's going to work for us at the end of the day.
This dude is excited about nothing. Oh, shut the fuck up. That doesn't even make any sense. If you're trying to help them, he can't really tell them what to do. I'm not asking them to tell them what to do. I'm asking them to be honest, give an honest assessment, give an honest opinion. Is this actually going to help your relationship, or is this going to burn it to the ground? Thanks to you guys, Gino and Jasmine are going to agree to this foolishness. They're going to go home, and then all of a sudden, Jasmine's going to show up freaking pregnant. And I'm supposed to believe that you guys did your job. You failed. If you're a therapist and I come to you and I say, hey, Mr. Therapist man, I'm having difficulties at work. I go to work. I get so frustrated. Sometimes I just want to slap the shit out of my boss. I want to slap the shit out of my coworkers. I want to slap the shit out of anybody I see in the place. What should I do? And the therapist say,
well, this is your relationship. You got to treat it however you want to treat it, because you got to live your life the way you want to live your life.
That dude is not on my side. What a therapist should say is, James, there are other ways for you to manage your situation. There are other ways for you to handle your anger. We have to deal with your anger. We have to deal with your resentment. One of the ways that's not productive is for us to physically engage with a bunch of people it's not going to put you in a good place. You go in there and do that, all you going to do is catch a damn case. You going to jail. You go in there and put your hands on somebody. James, that's dumb. You're going to ruin your life. It's not going to help you, and you're not going to solve your underlying issues and underlying problems. If they really wanted to get into it, let's have the deeper discussion about what was going on between Jasmine and Gino. Why doesn't he want to have relations with her? It's not just the fact that he's opposed to sex and sexuality. What else happened? I could point to something that might have stalled him all the way out. Maybe it was the fact that when he had a discussion with Jasmine before and they broke down and got into an argument, Jasmine turned around and told Gino that he was small itty bitty. He was part of the small itty bitty committee, and he couldn't do nothing for her physically. In fact, that's why she was sleeping with Dane, the guy who Gino was paying to put Jasmine in a hotel or apartment that he couldn't afford in Panama, so that she could live in the same building with Dane, her ex-boyfriend, guy she used to mess around with. And she said she was sleeping with him. And then she also said this is the same guy who spent $2,000 in addition to the money that Gino sent down there to get her a wedding dress. She took the money from Dane and the money she received from Gino and had butt implants put in, because that was way more important than her getting married to Gino. And that might have been the thing to make him stall out. Because what man or what person wants to hear how when your lover or your husband or wife was sleeping with this other person, they were so much better than you. They were incredible. They were amazing. When they sit around at night, that's who they thinking about. But when they with you, it was so terrible. They never felt satisfied. They never enjoyed themselves. Yeah, that will pretty much destroy any future prospect of you wanting to lay down with that person, because it's going to make you self-conscious as hell. Not to mention, there was a point where Jasmine admitted that she still to this day had videos of her sleeping with Dean. They had filmed themselves in the throes of passion or whatever, doing the do. And what man wants to think like, oh, Gino watch a lot of movies or whatever? She watching herself with her ex-boyfriend. You don't think that could cause somebody to say, you know what, I don't feel sexually attracted to you? I also noticed that there were a few couples up there who weren't engaged in relations, carnal relations. I noticed that Sophie hadn't been in Rob's house for like 9-10 months, almost a year, haven't slept with him for almost a year. Julia had stopped sleeping with Brandon. And not once did these people get pressured, or these ladies get pressured into, well, why don't you go in there and just do that? Because that's what he really wants. It'll help to ease his mind. It'll help him to relax him. It'll make the situation so much better. Why is it a world where men can't say no? We can't say that we don't want to do it. We don't feel comfortable doing it. Or if you say something wild and crazy to us, we just supposed to shove it off our back and take it because we so crazy about the ladies. That makes no sense to me. We're people too. We have feelings too. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's my take. I'm James. This has been My Take on Reality, and I'm out. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.